What was that moment when you decided that you're not just gonna work on a business, you're gonna build a legacy?
I've never been a skillful person to do anything, but I have that loyalty towards my work. I applied for my Canadian student visa and I was straight away refused. Always driven by passion, challenges. We did file a police complaint in UK.
What's the vision of GB Realty?
To do it in a way which nobody has ever done.
Throughout this season, we have explored leadership, community, creativity, and innovation. In this episode, we are going back to the story of the man who is the driving force behind it all. He's a builder of dreams, a risk taker, and somebody who has turned the challenges into stepping stones for global success. The co-founder of Opulence Education Group and Optas Group, Puneet Khanna. Hi Puneet, how are you today?
I'm good, Sakshi. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking out time and being with us here for our year-end special. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So we want to start this conversation by knowing about you, like your whole journey, starting from the beginning, before OEG, before Om Global, how you started.
I started my professional life working in the field of medical transcription. I did a small program back in 2001, which was related to medical transcription, and I worked in that industry for good couple of years. The only purpose for doing work in medical transcription industry was somebody told me there's high demand in the Western world countries like US and Canada. So I being from India, I wanted to migrate to US or Canada and go live there. Then while I was working in medical transcription, I applied for my Canadian student visa. Not many people know about it, and I was straight away refused the student visa that I applied. So after that, I started my own business of medical transcription from my first employer. Actually, he became my first business partner. So we worked into the medical transcription for good 3-4 years. So that's how I started.
Did you use your degree anywhere in your whole career?
I mostly used my experience and my willpower to learn. I'm very good at learning. I can spend half an hour with any person and would definitely learn something from that person. I don't know about that other person whether he will learn something from me or not. I don't know about degree, but this zeal to learn, yes, that did help me.
What was that moment when you decided that you're not just gonna work on a business, you're gonna build a legacy?
That I decided when I was very small, probably a kid. Always driven by passion, challenges. My team knows, people I've worked with, they know whenever there is a problem, I use it as an opportunity to do a lot of things. I always wanted to do something big, keep growing, keep learning. So it was not like one of an incident where I realized I wanted to do something. It was always at the back of my mind.
Was it like your family background, or you did like something completely different?
Family background, I won't say. Come from a very humble family. So I didn't join my father in his garments business, which he wanted me to, but I wanted to do something, start a new line. So that is how the medical transcription came into picture. Then from medical transcription, when I got an opportunity, my brother went to Australia to study, and so I went into the immigration industry, opened my first office, and then a couple more offices. So I could not go to Canada to study myself, but I sent thousands of students to fulfill their dreams into different countries.
People see the results, right? If we talk about Om Global, you've helped many students, right? But I'm sure there were challenges in the early stages, even in your first business, as you mentioned, of medical transcript. What were those challenges like, and what did you learn from those?
Every business has its own challenges, and every day there's a new story. Now that the technology has really developed, even in those days there was a software called Dragon, if I'm not wrong. So they were doing the auto typing. So how medical transcription used to work was, a doctor used to have a dictaphone sitting in US. He would dictate the report of a patient, and we used to type it and send it back to the doctor. So there was these softwares who were auto typing, listening to what the doctor was saying, and there were only quality analysts required to proofread or edit those reports. So that business had these challenges, which was slowly becoming a dying business, because now the technology has developed a lot. I think medical transcriptionists, they are no longer required. Then coming to the second business, which was immigration. In my very early days, back in 2009, I started working with a couple of colleges in the UK. And I still remember in 2009, one of those colleges in Birmingham called ADC, Education Development College. They came to India, they did seminars in India, and I gave them good 400 admissions. And for those 400 admissions, they took the initial tuition fee from the students in the range of 3,000 to 4,000 pounds per student. And after probably a couple of months, that college, they filed for bankruptcy. So sitting in India, those 400 students held me accountable for that money which they had sent to that college, or it had gone as a demand draft or as a wire transfer. So starting from late 2009, 2010 and 11, those 2 years I was only taking care of those students, trying to convince them that I was not part of the scam that probably happened with them. So I took care of a lot of students by paying them out of my pocket, but I could do that much which I could. But the good part was I stayed strong, stayed in the same office, worked in the future with a lot of other better colleges and universities, and slowly I was able to repay those students. It took me good 2 years. Good learning experience. It made me really strong. Every business has a struggle. Every business has a new issue coming up on a day-to-day basis. I think I've got used to it now.
So 2009, you mentioned you started Om Global. Which year was the first business?
The first business was medical transcription. That was in 2004. And
wow, that's a long time.
And immigration was, I started immigration in 2006, and that was your fate takes you where you have to do something. So we kind of bought a office space to do the medical transcription. The building where the office space was bought, we got an announcement that the passport office of that region is coming into the same building. So used that office to start the immigration business, because the passport office was coming in that building. And during those days, the passport office people used to line up early morning, as early as 4 o'clock in the morning. Everything started with a story or with a reason. Nothing was planned.
Oh wow, nice. How many locations of Om Global do we have now?
Currently we have 5 locations of Om Global, mostly in Punjab and Haryana.
That's amazing. Any plans to open more or branch out in other countries?
My brother who lives in Australia, so we have Om Global in Australia also. We have 5 different locations, Melbourne, Trignina, Sydney, Parramatta, and I think Brisbane. So these are the 5 locations we have. So he's the one who's taking care of Om Global India and Om Global Australia. So that's been passed on to him.
You mentioned about the challenges, but what was the first major setback?
Major setback was the 2009 college that I talked about. That was a big setup, because the money that the college took away from my agency was in the tune of £1 million, which was good 8 to 9 crore Indian rupees at that time, and it was a huge amount of money that they ran away with. We did file a police complaint in UK. one of those people, he got arrested also. But later on, the UK police, the West Midland police, they released them, saying that it is a civil matter which includes two companies and not a criminal matter. So I had to come back empty-handed.
So you've grown Opulence into a big renowned education group. What were the first or initial days when you were building Opulence looked like, and how did this idea come into picture?
Opulence, being from immigration, I and my brother being in Australia, we were always looking to have a college in Australia, because a lot of people I knew who were owning colleges in Australia. So first preference was Australia, and then me and Gurinder, we knew each other from 2008, and we never had the courage to start a business together, because we did not want to spoil the friendship that we had. International student conference in Canada, so that's when we discussed, and he also talked about his vision to own an education institute and get into the education part. That's when we thought that maybe we can start something outside of India, and that's when the first college, which is Academy of Learning Toronto, came into picture, and that's how Opulence started.
Look at where we are today. What were the sacrifices or the chaos that you guys managed during that time?
Being new to the country, a lot of things we did not know culturally how to do. We had a big struggle to find out who's the right lawyer for us to do the completion of the first college. It was a nice journey. We learned a lot. We spent good 4 weeks in sitting in one hotel when we were signing this agreement. And one fine day, I told Gurinder that if we are not going to change the hotel, at least we can go for a breakfast to a different hotel. So we underwent a lot of things, but finally it went well.
So you now, Opulence is as huge as everyone knows. We have 11 colleges, and we have a lot more coming. So you are leading a big group, and leading is not just about scaling, it's also about being grounded. I'm sure there are days that you cannot handle the chaos, right? How do you ground yourself?
I think that's probably that comes to me from inside. I try to keep myself calm, whatever the situation is, because one thing I always feel, by being hyper or by being angry, it doesn't change the situation. If you are cool and calm, that's the only way to probably think of an idea or think of how the problem can be solved. And I always tell people working with me, discussing about the problem or talking about the problem does not solve anything. It is the solution which solves the problem.
Can we jump into GB Realty, one of the new projects that we all are hearing about that is in India? Tell us, how did that come into picture?
We were looking to go into the development side from good 3 years now, and most of the effort was done by Gurinder. I don't think there's any land parcel in Chandigarh which he's not visited or he's not seen the documents of. So, but finally, last year, I think it was September 18th, a very historic date in multiple terms. So that's when we had the Gamada auction, and the first land parcel we acquired in New Chandigarh, where we are building this locality called Opus 1. We've got the RERA license approved, and then the construction has already started. We were trying to figure out how to do it, where to do it, and then finally we got it last year.
What's the vision of GB Realty?
The vision is, Sakshi, to do it in a way which nobody has ever done. To us it is a project, but to 700 odd people who are going to have a apartment in those buildings, it's their house. So we we are thinking on the grounds, but we want to make it something where we can live. If we prepare it in a way that, okay, fine, I can see this place as my house, that means people can trust us. I know it's something a lot of people say that they want to do it differently. The kind of consultants we've had people from around the world to make that project what it would be. For example, we've had a lightning consultant, the company who's done the lightning for the Opera House in Sydney, for the greenery and all. We've had a company in Singapore who've done the Singapore airport.
Oh, wow, that's
these are the
exciting.
kind of people we've hired. So we want to make it a project where people can really think about and dream about living.
That's amazing. We're all waiting to see that.
You just wait for 4 years.
Yes. Other than Opus One, are there any other projects and plans that we can expect coming next year?
Yeah, there are two more projects. One is a mix use plan. We mix use land area. That's on Airport Road in Chandigarh, and we've named it First Avenue. So that's because it's going to be the kind of first landmark place once somebody lands. So that's where we picked the name from, kind of First Avenue. Apart from that, we are collecting a land parcel to have a kind of a colony where we have plots and residential area and commercial area and apartments. So it's again going to be a whole township kind of a structure which is going to be done in that place.
When can we expect the completion of Opus One and the First Avenue?
For Opus One, we've got a time period of 5 years from the authorities. We target 4 years to complete it, and for the First Avenue, we're still in the process of finalizing the plans and everything. So once they are submitted to the authorities, from there you get a time period to finish it.
Let's jump from real estate to sports now. We all know about Mathura Yodhas and GB Legends. Can you explain us more about those two?
GB Legends, it's a golf team in Chandigarh Golf Club. We're going to have the tournament this month. So that's one team that belongs to the group. And then Mathura Yodhas was a volleyball team during a recent tournament that happened in Noida, and it was a good experience. The sports entertainment industry is a lot mature in North America when it comes to the NBAs or NFLs and stuff like that, but it is still at the initial stage in India, because cricket is the only game which people still think or talk about. So all the other sports and games, they have a huge potential and an opportunity. So that's how we ventured into some different games other than cricket.
Absolutely. And I believe sports and businesses share the same DNA, like teamwork, motivation, resilience. What did you get to learn out of that?
Teamwork, definitely, like you said. Patience and waiting for the right time is something which we learned. Losing does not mean the end of it. The right time will come.
Absolutely. When you look at the team, what do you see in them?
A bunch of young people who are looking to make their career. Some of them were state level players who took this as an opportunity to play at a level where they were teaming up or playing against some really good international players. So they had this exposure, or they had this platform where they could show their skill set. They could move to the next level or players. So they must have learned a lot to carry forward into the future for their game and for their betterment.
From immigration to education to now sports, can we move to AI?
So AI is something which is definitely gonna change a lot of things around us. It's already started. Another 5 years we'll see a lot of changes happening around us, whether it is the job market, whether it is the kind of work that people are doing. I am fascinated by technology, and I think it is always wise to accept the change and change with time, because otherwise we always talk about the example of Nokia phones, that they did not change, and they were replaced by people like Apples and Samsung. So I'm just hoping, just like everything else, I get an opportunity into it and I change myself according to that.
AI is misunderstood a lot of times. How is Optas AI helping in their own way?
Suhail started it with a vision. If you look at my phone, I have 7 different LLMs downloaded in my phone, and I go to for different questions. I go to sometimes Perplexity or ChatGPT, and sometimes same question to all of them, just to try to see how it works. So everything has a different speciality. So that's when he came up with the idea of putting some things into Optas AI, where people can know how AI works, what actually AI is. You're right. People are still thinking, or they think that ChatGPT is the AI, or Gemini is the AI. These are just LLMs, and AI is way more than what we can think and imagine about. So with Optas AI, we're trying to teach. In fact, when I read some of those newsletters, I'm amazed at how I do not know a lot of very common things, or a lot of very general things that are covered in that. So that's how it started.
Good job to the Optas AI team, I guess, right, for giving all this information
Absolutely,
to everyone.
Yes.
Now, jumping on to our hospitality arm, everyone is very excited to know more about the hospitality sector and the part we have in that. Would you like to explain or tell everyone what all projects you have, what all properties are there under Optas Group?
We have 3 running hotels right now in the hospitality, and 3 under construction. We have 2 hotels under construction in Amritsar. That's where Golden Temple is, a very historic place. So, and one operational in Amritsar by the name of Sarovar Premier. Similarly, we have another hotel in Ludhiana, and one just recently acquired in Jalandhar by the name of Club Cabana. It's kind of a resort which was the first resort in that part of the world. We have a very big plan in hospitality industry, and there's our hospitality manager Kamal who takes care of it. We've hired a team around Kamal, so we are looking to expand to around 50 odd hotels by 2030, and we are slowly moving towards that direction.
That's a great plan. Do you see hospitality as a natural extension of your philosophy, like connecting people and places with purpose?
Yes, because we travel a lot. I'm kind of in a flight every week or every other week. So there are a lot of things around hospitality. It's so big and vast that there's something to be learned every every new property. By traveling a lot of these hotels and different cities of the world, you understand what you need. When you know what you need as a traveler, you try to implement that in your own property. So that's where we are probably coming from.
Now, from hospitality, I want to quickly jump into the art collection.
I'm not a artistic person at all. If you ask, by reading through art, by reading through some of the artists that I've bought into, I'm slowly developing that interest. But still, it's way too far for me to understand how to go about it, because this is something which is not traditional investment, or not something which everybody wants to do. So hopefully in the near future we'll do something good or better in the art collection also.
Do you have any particular artwork in mind that you would want to own one day?
There's an artist called Banksy. Nobody has seen him. It's a virtual name that this guy carries, and he started with doing graffiti on the streets of London, and that's how he became popular. There are paintings of him which are there's a series called The Girl with the Balloon.
Yeah.
So it's some of the most popular paintings. So definitely would like to have something in those terms, but let's see how we move forward.
Now that we have spoken about all the brands, I want to go back where you started, and we want to talk about your friends that you started this whole chain of brands with, Gurinder Bhatti and Suhail Seth. Please tell us how that started and how was the whole journey?
I met Gurinder back in 2008. We were in the same industry, kind of competitors. We were competing in the market, but it was always a healthy competition, and I think the market was big enough to not think about competition. So we met through a common friend. We used to get together once in a while during my 2009 incident when that college duped the money from me. Gurinder was somebody who came to me asking me if I needed some support or anything. So there was ups and downs in life where we stood for each other. 2016, I think we were at a conference when we decided we'll start doing some business together. Slowly and steadily, I think we've come into a relation where I think it's more of a family than friendship now. So it started just like any normal friendship does, but I think it matured with time.
Did Suhail also join at the same time?
Suhail joined Gurinder in 2014, if I'm correct. So when we started looking for college, so that's when we interacted a lot, and then me and Suhail, we were the first people who came here when the due diligence of the college needed to be done. So that's where we spent good 2 weeks together, and we developed a good understanding of how we think. So he is somebody who's always talking about numbers or data, and that's something I like. I've always been I'm not crazy with numbers, but I've been fascinated with numbers. So that's how the relationship with Suhail also slowly developed, and we dealt with a lot of ups and downs, especially with the education sector together. So that gave us the time to build the relationship that we have today.
We want to know about a time when that friendship was tested.
There have been a few instances, like nothing major, but see, we when we are working together, we have difference of opinion almost every other day, but we are, I think, mature enough to handle those situations, and it's a theory that we work on. Either you convince me or I convince you. So that's the theory we try to work on. And when if it is a tie that nobody is able to convince nobody, then somebody takes a back step and says, okay, fine, we are ready to do what you are saying, and then we'll see how it happens. That's something which Suhail does normally. When he knows that we are thinking in the wrong direction, he'll probably try to test. He'll say, okay, go do it, and then he'll wait for it to fall back onto him, and he would say, oh yeah, I knew this would happen, but okay, this is how we'll get out of it. So this
He has a solution ready already by that time.
yeah. Even when he's telling you to take that wrong step, he knows what is going to happen, and he has that solution at that time. And we have asked him a lot of times that why don't you give that solution there and then. He said, then you will not value that solution, you will not think that it is the right solution. So firstly you have to go take that wrong step and then come back to me.
After all these years of friendship, how do you all see this dynamic now?
Now I don't know what name to give it to, but it's definitely, if there is something more than brothers, that's how we live our lives.
Now we want to talk about yourself, like your journey. You've built so many businesses across different industries, and I am sure there's some value that has not changed for you throughout this journey. What is that one thing?
One thing that has not changed for me is loyalty towards work. I always think that it's not about you love your work or you don't love your work, you are skillful or you're not skillful. I've never been a skillful person to do anything, but I have that loyalty towards my work, whether it is the colleges, whether it was the immigration or anything, and that loyalty towards work, I sometimes fail to describe what I mean by it. So that's something which has not changed, and I think that's one of the major reasons that I enjoy doing whatever field you put me into, whatever situation you put me into, because I know that I owe something to my work. So when that feeling comes, it automatically gets a lot out of you. So that's something which has not changed.
That's that's amazing. That's powerful. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my kids to understand how this all happened. I want them to not take anything for granted. I want them to realize the efforts or the hard work put into everything. But I try to tell them what we have done, how we have done, and I need to tell them what this relationship with Suhail or Gurinder means to them, because that's very important, and that's something they need to know. A lot of legacies, they don't go to second generation or third generation, right? So there's, if the kids know where this legacy has come from and where to take it, that is the only way it can carry forward. So I think that's how I want to see it, how I want to approach it, with the kids carrying it forward.
I hope they do understand when, of course, they are at the right age.
So too.
Next, we have a very fun section. Our lovely team members here have the option to ask you questions that they want.
So I have two questions. The first one is, what are your strategies for building a new business?
The strategy to build a new business is to learn that business. If I talk about, let's talk about Opulence first. The education industry was very very new to me. So when we had the first college, my first thing was to go to different people, try to understand what they do, how they do, what are the tools they use, what are the resources they use, what is their job description. So I try to learn from them what they do and make notes out of that. So that's something which gives me the insight into, and I'm a little lazy person, so I'll figure out a way of doing what they are doing in a easy way, or so in a way where it takes lesser time than what they are putting into, and then I'll give them that tool to probably operate it.
And the second question, going back to the friendship, it's, which qualities do you look in a good friend?
I think the most important thing is understanding what the word friendship means. This is a very very heavy word, if you ask me. It is very easy to call everybody a friend, but Gurinder always says that you only need 5 people in the world, and those 5 people should be the ones who you call that I am in trouble and I am at this place, and they should not ask a second question that why, where, what happened. They should only say that okay, fine, I'll be there in this time. So this is something what the friendship should be.
And a third question is, what are 3 words that describe Puneet?
Calm, passionate, and motivated.
I was just curious, what are some of your favorite books, and are you currently reading anything?
It's been long I've stopped reading books, because ever since the internet has evolved, a lot of my reading is over the phone, and more than that, I am now getting a habit of listening to the books, because that saves a lot of time, or listening to some nice podcasts, or that's where a lot of my learning comes from. But if I have to tell about a few good books, I really like the Phil Knight's book Shoe Dog, the guy who's the founder of Nike. So I really like how he started and the struggle. So that's one of my favorite books, I would say.
So coming back to OEG, what's coming for OEG in 2026?
So 2026 expansion in terms of number of colleges, definitely it is there, but at the same time a lot of new sources of doing the work in a better way, which relate to the compliance side of things. That's where a lot of focus is going to be. We want to streamline things with having some top management people who can actually who understand the industry more than anything else, because there's a very big changes coming into this industry. If I talk about 2026, looking at the budget the federal government has come up with, there's going to be pressure on the private career college industry as a whole. So we'll take it as it comes, but we've already started preparing and started digging into what are the new changes going to be, and where do because it is a regulated business, so we have to keep a close eye on how the government wants to treat this industry as.
That's the wrap on our live audience section. Next we have a rapid fire round. Whatever
I'm
comes
not
to you.
very good at rapid fire.
Okay, then I'll give you 1 second to think. The riskiest decision you've ever made.
Many.
One book that changed your perspective.
Shoe Dog.
A morning ritual that you swear by.
Reading emails.
Tea or coffee.
Coffee.
Biggest fear and biggest motivation.
No fear. I think I've overcome my fears. Biggest motivation is people around me.
Dream destination for the next Optas project.
Europe.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and giving us your honest and true answers. This episode, and it was not just what you've gone through or beyond success and resilience. You've taught us about your belief, your values. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you,
doing
Sakshi.
that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. To our listeners, as we wrap up this year of InFocus, remember this: behind every headline of success is a story of resilience. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel. And if you've liked this episode, you've stayed here till now, don't forget to share it with your friends. We'll see you again in next year. Till then, keep dreaming, keep learning, stay in focus.